Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chinese GP of the Bwoah Racing League Season 4. This is race number 4 and I'm Zataxter as always. It's going to be an interesting one because it was a gripping race last season. Around 16 turns and 5.4 kilometers track distance, 2 DRS detection zones, and of course that infamous straight from 13 to turn 14 will be a gripping one. A lot of overtakes that we can expect, and a couple of things did go down last season around as well. Of course, race start last season was an incredible one. Big Man Joe starting on pole with UK right behind KDB. So the top 3 from last season are on track this season as well. And of course, moving on, we saw Freeze as well as Thunderbird in lap number 13 sending it sideways. Of course, on that same straight I was talking about, Vix 356 fancied a move down the inside of Big Man Joe, pulling off an incredible overtake but missing out on a more positive podium finish compared to Big Man Joe, who ended up winning the race. And on that note, the last lap chaos, of course, for the RP drivers, both Ashwin as well as Vix 356 losing out to Big Man Joe on the top 2 steps of the podium. Big Man Joe, after post-race penalties, ended up on top. Incredible last season we had, and alongside me, Ruds, what is up, my guy? Last season you weren't there, but this season you are. Give us a rundown on what you think is in store.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be back again in the commentary box.
Yeah.
And this is a feisty track, and this might be the only time we are seeing Chinese GP in 2021 and maybe 2022.
Yeah, indeed. And I can't wait for things to get rolling. Any bold predictions right off the bat?
Difficult to say because the weather is going to play a big part. And we had one obvious champion when it comes to rain, but sadly that champion will not be taking part.
Yeah.
So open book for everyone, I guess.
Yeah. Indeed, and the last minute switcheroo means Gambler's on track this time around. That's the reserve driver of the Red Bull team, spearheaded by SV, who's rather pessimistic going into this race. He's aiming only for a P10 finish.
Of course, that is decent enough, but then again, one can always aim higher.
Yeah.
Anything in the point finish will be good, considering the weather and the treacherous track conditions when it comes to tire wear.
Yeah, indeed. Yep, that's you got it bang on, Ruds. And Will, who's our sim racing photographer, made a nifty poster where he kind of jinxed rain perhaps as the weather for this race, and I wonder if we will have rain and how much things might go completely left field on that note. But for those of you joining, make sure you drop in the chat who you're here for. Who do you think will come out on top? I'm looking forward to how Rocketman and UK does. 2 drivers who got caught off with a few instances of bad luck in the past couple of races. Especially UK, he started P20 or P19 on 2 occasions. So yeah, hopefully he gets qualifying. He does a good job in qualifying this time around.
Sure. And I do feel that the newcomers for the season this time might steal the attention. They might grab all the attention. And I have a feeling that the driver of the day might be a newcomer for China.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's hope so. We could possibly see a podium finisher, a new podium finisher as well. Anything's possible. I'm hoping for all the drivers to have a good race, as qualifying is set to begin. Shock qualifying, 18 minutes for each driver to set a lap time for a position on the grid.
I do fancy the chances of, I want to say McLaren. I do think that the McLaren will have an overall qualifying performance that is better than the rest.
Okay.
But something in my mind tells me it's going to be close between McLaren and Mercedes.
Yeah, if they get.
What about you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if they can get consistency bang on, they're sorted, McLaren. Seto RC18 was brilliant in Vietnam. And UK, like I mentioned before, qualifying is all that he needs to get right, and he'll be good to go.
True, and for UK qualifying is probably the only thing where he needs to focus on because the F1 gods haven't been kind to him lately, especially when it comes to qualifying, and he has to make it up in the race, but which is a shame because he always does so well in the race, and if he qualifies a bit higher, he wouldn't have to work that hard.
Yeah. We've seen him qualify on the front row last time around. He qualified P2 even though he was on keyboard. So now he's transitioned onto the wheel. So it'll be interesting to see how much of a difference that makes.
True. I feel that everybody who transitioned to the wheel have surprisingly performed better than expected in such a short time gap. With a few exceptions, we know who is the the biggest exception when it comes to the transition. But yeah, not gonna jinx that poor guy right now.
And a bunch of drivers coming out on track. SV11's on the wheel as well this weekend, so I'm pumped to see his performance, even though he's hoping only for a P10 finish. But you got Horning and General Pepe on their out laps, so we'll jump straight to them. Shanghai International Circuit. Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
No, I was just mentioning the name of the track because I feel I left that out earlier on. The Chinese GP, yes, but the Shanghai International Circuit. So yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that the Chinese GP is not in the Chinese capital because if you look at the difference between Shanghai and Beijing, Beijing is a much better hotspot for, such a fan-oriented sport.
Yeah. Sure. A lot of folks.
While you were talking, I was going to mention Honing, since we are, talking about him.
Yeah.
How do you feel about his start so far in BRL? Do you think it has been under the expectations, or do you feel he's matching them so far?
I think he's matching them appropriately so far, because you got to consider, okay, I just need to take a step back and say Baby Shumi has already retired after a collision with Mr. Wex, I believe, and he gets a 5-place grid penalty in the process. So regardless of that penalty, he will be starting P20. Unfortunate for him. I wonder what went down there. Anyway, regardless, back to Horning, of course. I think, of course, when you see a couple of the races that just got over, he has been performing as expected, which is getting into the points. And if you see the overall standings, he's got more points than most of the drivers that actually managed to be in the top 10 of the standings overall last season around. So clearly he's doing a good job. It's a great start for him. If he can keep it going, consistency is key, as with anything. If he can keep it going, it'll be a great result for him and his team. I'm surprised his teammates not doing equally well.
True, I actually agree with you on that one. I just feel that Horning has sort of been not under, but he could definitely do better, but that is not because of him. It's more because of his luck, sadly. And I think that the Chinese EV might be a turning point for him, in a way.
All right.
But so, as you said, Freeze is not the one in the spotlight.
Yep.
More like not in the limelight, because I don't know why. Freeze also needs a turnaround in his luck, but yeah, maybe he needs to perform better.
Yeah, perhaps halfway through the season we might see some changes. I mean, considering, we did see him pull off an incredible race last season where he was able to do 26 laps on the mediums. I think it was Spain, if I'm not wrong.
The historic victory that Freeze went through was actually in Paul Ricard, where he pulled the mediums for 20 laps.
Yeah, of course, France.
So, which makes it even more surprising, because France is not a track you would expect for such risky tire strategies.
Exactly. So yeah, perhaps we'll see him pop off, so to speak, later on into the season. But then again, we'll find out. Mr. Wex with the fastest time so far. Big Man Joe right up there. Horning, as we mentioned, right up there. Rocket Man as well. Chris Bai set a time. Clearly, it won't be his time to stick to in the qualifying session. 19 seconds off of the leader. So clearly not his final
Quite a
time.
huge gap to start off with.
Yeah. And speaking about huge gaps, you can see Vic C56, he put a good amount of effort into that lap, still 6 seconds off Mr. Wex.
I wonder how much practice he would have had in the break of PRL so far, because his Bahrain performance was a little bit painful to watch. I, for one, was just hoping for his misery to end and things to get better soon. But oh, how wrong was I? Bahrain was something he might want to Men in Black delete from his memory. We need to get one of those pens for him.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think there's a huge chance this race is going to be the same for him as well. I think something we can be optimistic about as Fries goes off track. He has set the quickest time. Don't know why he's going on the gravel on those soft tires. I know he wants to leave space, and there's a McLaren spinning, and I wonder which one it is. Yes, it is UK. He has spun. Yep, he's spun.
Interestingly, he's on the inters, Sarthak.
Yeah,
Now,
initially.
I don't know if that's a glitch.
I'm pretty sure it's not a glitch, because initially I thought he was just laying down rubber like he did last time around, if I'm not wrong. And surprisingly enough, he's still out on track on the inters. Weird.
Maybe he wants to get a sense of the track, because you can use the inters in the dry and in the wet. So maybe there is some, Ferrari master plan level strategy from UK.
Perhaps. We will find out eventually. He goes on the grass. I'm pretty sure he's just making sure he doesn't waste time anymore. He wants to go straight into the pits, switch tires, and come back out for a proper lap. And just over 11 minutes to go for Shaw qualifying to end. Fries, surprisingly enough, at this moment of Shaw qualifying on provisional pole, with Wex right behind. But then again, KDB hasn't set a lap time. Rusty Nish hasn't set a lap time, and Avi, who has been practicing from what I've heard for 2 weeks, so he's been really hell-bent to do a good job here out on track this race. So I think all eyes on Avi at the Chinese GP.
Yep, and speaking of Avi, his teammate has finally given us some details of what happened. Apparently, Baby Shumi rammed directly into Mr. Wex before he was starting his lap. It was on the main straight, and for no reason, for no fault of Wex, he got a 5-place grid penalty, while Baby Shumi had terminal damage and had to retire.
Unfortunate for him. So, but yeah, that's kind of how the game tends to be on rare occasions. Sometimes more often than not, but we can all complain all we want. Surprisingly enough, Hyrox24 putting in a time that gives him currently provisional P4.
Yep, impressive to see. The Williams have changed their role for now, so I wonder if this is going to change pretty soon. And another thing that I'm wondering right now is if we might go for the custom grid if Mr. Wex's complaint stands. Do you feel something like that could happen?
Perhaps just might, but my concentrations on the current standings. I'm excited to see where this is going, because UK hasn't set a lap time yet. KDB hasn't yet either. General Pepe currently with his lap time set is P12. And Big Man Joe is probably the only regular individual who's in the top 5 who's right up there. So I'm just stuck on to that. A possible custom grid, I mean, we're no strangers to that. So soon enough, perhaps. But then again, he's got a 5-place grid penalty either way, Baby Shumi.
And Honing is starting his outlap again, and he's on the mediums this time. So maybe he improves his lap time on the mediums.
We'll see as he begins a fast lap. Turn 1 should be as clean as it was last season around. We didn't have any incidents. Just one going into turn 3, perhaps. I feel, I think so. Turn 3, where Gouts and DS Aditya at the time went into each other and into the barriers as well. So yeah, we should have a clean first lap, and Vex has returned.
I think that the Chinese GP track, the Shanghai circuit, has one of the smoothest turn ones out in the calendar. So casualties are less. Not saying that they are non-existent, but people do tend to, navigate it smoothly on the first lap.
Freeze's time still unbeaten even after about 4 minutes or so. Bunch of drivers on the outlap and a bunch on their fast laps. For those of you watching, who do you think will come out on top? It'll be interesting if all three drivers who were able to put it in the front last time around comes out in the front this time as well. Perhaps I'm being a bit melodramatic right now.
Maybe, but then again, we did not have General Pepe last race.
Yeah, indeed
but
we
do
didn't.
have him this race.
And that's not.
And so far, I don't know if he's looking to break into the barrier for the top. He's 4.5 seconds off the pace of the leader.
Surprising that, isn't it? Staying on board Rocketman, and we wonder what kind of time he can put in and how much he can improve. He is on the softs, however.
I do think that General Pepe will improve as time progresses, but there isn't much time to begin with. So, yeah.
And as it stands, still, the top three remains the same. Setu RC18 putting in a lap time which gives him provisional P4. Just over 6 minutes left to shock qualifying to end, as a couple of the drivers come out on track. In UK, still in the pits. And let's not forget about Chris Bai, who is a two-time podium finisher already in the BRL. Last race, however, wasn't the best of races for him, a one to forget for sure. As he comes across the line, I wonder if he can improve his lap time. Doesn't quite get anything done. Will start another fast lap. I have a feeling it was invalidated, the previous one.
Yep, it definitely was. He's still stuck on the same gap to the leader. Currently, our stewards are kind of pondering over removal of Vex's 5-place grid penalty and facilitating a custom grid in case that happens. So that is up in the air right now.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Did Vex get a 5-place grid penalty? Because weird enough, it actually popped up that Baby Shumi got a 5-place grid penalty on my screen.
Oh, Vex got a 5-place grid penalty as well.
Alright.
Because for the collision, both of them got the penalty, but Baby Shumi got terminal damage, so he had to retire as well.
Got
Mr. Vex continued.
Got it. That makes sense. Alright. Cool. Well, even if he does get a 5-place grid penalty, he'll still be starting in the top 10 with the time he's put in so far. As we stay on board Chris Bai, going through sector 3, through the penultimate corner, and he should have a good enough time to put him right up there, at least in the top 10, I'd presume. But he dives in the pits. Okay.
He had cut 16 seconds off his lap time.
Yeah.
I wonder why he didn't at least register that.
Unusual. Super unusual.
I guess he might be going for the medium strategy perhaps. It's better to set the time on a medium and start a bit behind, but maybe go for a potential one-stopper rather than push for the softs and lose out.
Yeah, and of course, Haas getting all the support in the chat, along with Vex as well. But of course, questions arise. Where is Accelerate? Well, folks, Accelerate is not out on track. He had a personal thing to tend to, so he will not be racing today.
Vex's grid position is currently being highly contested, but we don't know for sure what's gonna happen. This was an unfortunate thing, so we have more details on baby Shumi's side. His game apparently glitched, and he has no idea of what happened. So while the game glitched, Shumi collided with Vex, and it resulted in those penalties, and Shumi had to retire. So very, very confusing circumstances.
Unfortunate for both drivers, and I wonder how the race start's going to turn out for him and for Vex as well, who's out on track currently. But UK trying to set a lap time, seemed like he went through sector 1 rather slowly, but I just wonder if he can better his lap time. He's currently 35 seconds off the pace of Freeze. That's not an ideal time. Freeze's time still unbeaten. So if the top drivers like KDB, Avi, as well as General Pepe and Big Banjo don't better their times, Freeze is gonna possibly have pole position.
Yeah, and this is very interesting to see, Sarthak, but Rusty Nish, Avi and KDB have not yet set their times. So maybe they're just waiting for the track to evolve, some more rubber to be laid down, and then they go for that one push, one lap to set it all.
Perhaps.
And maybe, get something in.
Yep. UK's time gives him a provisional P10. And for now, nothing else has changed. SV11, surprisingly enough, right up there. Provisional P7, 7th fastest.
And while we saw UK set his time, I just saw KDB exit the pit lane. So KDB is out on the mediums, and he will be looking to set that one individual lap. So far he's been running behind UK, trying to get in the slipstream, nurse his tires, get to the temperatures. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see how his lap turns out to be.
If he can pull off a front row time, then he'll be starting on the mediums.
Yeah, but I do feel that getting pole position or anything in the top 3 will be difficult on the mediums. I think anything above the 5th place is a potential win guaranteed for KDB.
Alright.
Unless General Pepe does something. He's down there in P15. I did not expect that time from him, Sarzak.
Yeah, and he is also on the mediums. So I wonder if he's looking at KDB and saying, my man, I'm gonna do the exact same thing you're gonna do. Let's go down to the wire in the race. That's a possibility, isn't it?
And General Pepe just started his hot lap, so they'll be setting their times very close to each other.
I must point out at this moment, Gambler has set a lap time that gives him 3rd fastest. Pretty impressive for a reserve driver. As his teammate for this race, SV11 sits at 11th fastest, RC18 facing a disconnection, and short qualifying has ended, which means Vex cannot better his time, and neither can RC18 or UK and Sicknick, which means UK will start P13. A better position than last time around, but clearly not his best.
Although he did do that on the mediums, so that might work out in his favor.
Yeah, perhaps a
Chris by doing P4 on the mediums, Sarthak.
Right up there. Hopefully this race turns out to be a better one compared to Vietnam, where he got caught off with bad luck. Staying on board General Pepe, through sector 3 he goes, and I just wonder what kind of lap times we'll be seeing. Freeze's lap time still yet to be beaten. Big Banjo couldn't better his lap time, stays P4. Right now it's a Mercedes 1 and 2 so far, but General Pepe and KDB are still yet to set a lap time. General Pepe around the penultimate corner. What do you think, Ruds? Do you think anyone's got a shot at beating the lap time?
Yes, he goes.
Bang on, Ruds, you got it.
By that logic, I think KDB might go P6 or P7 maybe.
Yep, P9 is all he gets, which means for the first time I just had to wait a weekend or two longer For the first time, it's a front row lockout in the Bwoah Racing League, and it's by the team we were talking about earlier on in shock qualifying. It's Freeze and Horning locking out the front row.
Although, I don't know if you've noticed this tiny thing where Horning is on the 2-lap old softs, whereas Freeze is on the 1-lap old softs. So, Horning might have some early tire wear compared to his teammate.
Perhaps he will, but for now they can enjoy the start of the race. At least Mr. Wex putting it at P3. I wonder, as you mentioned, what the decision will be. Will we have a custom grid or will we continue with the current positions? But yeah, brilliant stuff. Clearly, we said I said that I was surprised Freeze hasn't stepped up, and clearly today he has pole position for Freeze and Horning right behind. Brilliant.
This definitely will work out well enough for them.
Incredible. For the first time, a front row lockout in the Bwoah Racing League, and where better to have it than Shanghai International Circuit. Big Man Joe right up there in P4, General Pepe P5. So that'll be an interesting battle, Roads. I'm pretty sure. Chris Bai managed to qualify P6, Gambler in P7, Seto RC18 P8, KDB after a late lap time P9, and Hyrox 24 making it into the top 10 in P10.
Yep. Now the only uncertainty, the X variable, so to say, is whether Mr. Wex gets his penalty or not.
Indeed. We'll find out soon enough. The weather seems clear for now, so Will's prediction of a possible wet race is off the table for now.
Yep.
Can't wait to see the race start.
I think the jinx did not work out. Maybe it's good for the drivers. Certainly.
Yeah. And perhaps Accelerate won't regret too much missing out on this race, considering his team's cars are out on track, both cars, and there's no rain, so he'll be okay with that.
Yep.
We
might see some potential delays though, because the Wex incident is still not yet sorted, and nobody knows exactly what to give out. What do you think, Sarthak? Should this be a custom grid or should the race go on as proceed?
So this is where things are like on a fine line, so to speak, because the game glitched, and at the same time Wex caught off guard because Baby Shumi's game glitched. So it's a very tricky position. Stewards have dealt with this many times before last season. I can recall many times it's happened. We've caught it live on stream as well, but from what I see with UK getting ready, won't be a custom grid, I presume.
Yeah, I think this might be termed as a technical / racing incident and let go.
Will be. It will be. Yep. Just under 10 seconds left to the race to begin. 25% race distance, which means sorry, my bad, race to 0 are getting into my head. It's 50% race distance and 28 laps. All drivers must complete 28 laps and will complete, I'm pretty sure, with the lights that will go out soon enough. But formation lap first.
Yep, I am really curious to see how well these softs will do, because the tire degradation will approach puncture territory within 8 laps for the softs, and the mediums are almost twice as better at 17 laps, and the hards are just marginally better at 22 laps. So I think a one-stopper is not entirely out of the question.
And speaking about tires, beyond the P10 position, you're free to choose which tire compound you want, and as we can see, both the Alpha Tauris have gone on the hards.
Oh, so there might be a late pace charge perhaps, with less fuel and the tire having so much more rubber to grip that car. The softs will be a delight to race around with.
Yes, indeed it will be, I'm sure. General Pepe and Chris Bai both on the mediums in the top 10, KDB as well. So those three drivers in the top 10. I wonder how the race will end up being for them. all 3 podium finishers, 2 of them race winners so far in this season. I just can't wait for the race to begin. 28 laps, and Freeze has spun in the formation lap, but that shouldn't quite affect as much at the race start.
Yeah, I think that he'll just be sent back to the starting grid.
Yep.
And hopefully there's no damage incurred.
Yep. For now, nothing's changed. The Mercedes front row lockout, a lot like real Formula 1 Bwoah Racing League's turning out to be, isn't it?
Yep, for sure. And for me, the battle for lap 1 would be General Pepe and Chris Bye, because both of them are on the mediums.
Precisely.
And they will take net P1 and P2 once the front runners pit.
Of course.
Very, very exciting stuff to see.
28 laps to go, and it's just about 5 p.m. IST. So brilliant time to start the race itself. Shock qualifying done. Freeze and Horning front row lockout for the Mercedes-Benz team. Big man Joe starting P3. So Wex, after the 5 place grid penalty, will go down and start in P8, but lights will go out soon enough and the drivers will be ready to shoot down the main straight. Lights go out and they shoot across the main straight. They do what a start Horning's got. He's already overtaken his teammate Big Man Joe getting into the mix. 3-way battle into turn 1. There has been contact between Freeze and Big Man Joe, but Big Man Joe trying to take over the race lead just like he did in the Chinese GP last time around. Sector 1 goes yellow. I wonder what went down at the back of the pack, but Big Man Joe indeed does take the race lead as Horning tries to take the fight. The 2 Roadrunner Racing drivers finding it out on top. Rich, give me an update. What went down at the back of the pack?
Yes, I think that Freeze had a massive shunt with Harry Rocks maybe, and it's been so bad that Freeze is down in P17 now, while Harry Rocks is down in P19. So
horrible.
Freeze just lost his pole position in one sector.
Unfortunate for Freeze, as going down to UK, who's having a mighty fight with Ferrello. Was at least Rocketman fancying down the inside, couldn't quite get it. It's a DRS train, so to speak, in the midfield as well. KDB has climbed up to P7.
Might have to stop you there, Sadhak, because Freeze just got a 10-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits, and he's currently P20 with a broken wing, while SV is in P19. I do not know what happened, but it was a terrible thing for Freeze. He just went from P1 to P20 in a lap.
And are we pulling out some incredible moves, climbing up the pack. Right behind him, however, Gambler taking the fight to him, and UK as well. So incredible battles as down the order they go. Big Man Joe, I think, has possibly is facing an issue or a disconnection, because he's just lost out the race lead.
I do think it might be his AI that is driving currently, but I don't know why. For me, it says KDB is in the lead now. But
Yeah,
this is something.
yeah,
very
it's
weird.
a glitch. It's a glitch. It's definitely a glitch. So those of you watching, don't get too confused. The lobby is glitching.
Big Man Joe is still in the lead.
Yep, indeed he is.
Thankfully.
Yeah, Horning right behind General Pepe as well. So the positions haven't changed much. I almost thought the AlphaTauri boys were running in the top 10, but clearly they aren't yet. But we can expect soon enough for them to pull off something amazing and get into the points. I'm pretty sure they'll be hoping for that. Staying on board KDB with Vex ahead. Vex running P5.
KDB almost going into Tokyo Drift territory, but holds on. That turn 13 exit is a real slippery slide. People often lose their air ends on that, so I feel that it's going to be a very difficult pace to get a good exit off, especially if you want to overtake someone.
Yeah, and there's an AlphaTauri taking the fight to Red Bull, and the Red Bull loses 2 positions in a matter of a corner. Both Gouts and Ferrello has passed Gambler, and Gouts pushing real hard like he promised to us Ruds earlier on.
Yep, so far he's been the 100% points collector of Ferrari. I know it's a running meme in BRL, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Technically, it is the truth. And he is very close to the points once again, even though it's just the start of the race.
And look at General Pepe Rhodes. He's taking the fight to Horning, and he's only under half a second off Horning, and he's on the mediums. Let's not forget about that.
Yep, like I said, General Pepe and Chris Bai, they're currently P3 and P4. And then KDB is also on the mediums. So these three will take the podium places, the net podium places, when, the front runners do pit.
They will. And General Pepe staying on the tail of Horning. Horning will have a lot on his plate as Chris Bai approaches closer and closer as well. Mr. Wex, however, currently has a feisty KDB behind him. Just as Setu RC18 has Avi.
Yep, and I wonder what Freeze is gonna do because he's 22 seconds behind SV11. And oh wait, there's something very weird. Oh yeah, Freeze is by himself in sector 2 while SV just started sector 3. So something really, really wrong went between these two.
Fortunate there, but the two McLarens has a Renault in between, and they're really messing around with him. UK could possibly get a jump on his teammate as well, as Avi gets the overtake done on Setu RC18, and UK is fancying around the outside on both cars perhaps.
Yep, this turn 1 turning ratio, to be honest, is a very, very tricky one. You need to be very close to the inside, but not too inside, otherwise you're gonna just step on the curb and slide away, roll away, whatever, and it catches your fancy. If it's UK, it's mostly the spinning, but with Freeze or with KDB, it's normally the sliding. But yeah, turn 1 I think has a lot of overtaking opportunities, but it does not just live out to be that.
Freeze setting the quickest lap on the mediums, and diverting our attention back to General Pepe. He's gotten the jump on Horning already, and he's taking the fight to Big Man Joe, but Horning's well within a second of General Pepe. Sector 2 goes yellow, and I see Harry Rocks 24 dropping, so I just wonder what's happened there. And yes, he has spun.
Yep, so SV will have an easy overtake on Harry Rocks unless Harry Rocks tries to stop him. There will be some fighting now, but yeah, SV overtakes with Among Us ease.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, Horning has lost position to Chris Bai as well. Vex making that climb through the pack, and Horning will dive into the pits.
I'm surprised the softs didn't last for 7 laps at least. It's just the 5th lap that started now, so the softs really don't last more than 4 laps.
You can expect a move being made by UK as we go through sector 1. It's Vex versus UK side by side. Yes, they do go, and the McLaren should be able to make it stick. And yep, in a fantastic turn of events.
Gets a 5-second penalty in the meantime.
There's a McLaren in between the Renaults this time around. McLarens and Renaults.
And General Pepe is building a move on Big Banjo already. The softs are falling apart, Sarthak.
Yeah,
finally.
As expected, battles all around, in the front, in the midfield, and at the back of the pack.
I think that in the next lap, Mr. Vex, Big Manjo, and Setu RC18 will all pit, because the mediums and the hards are the ones in the top 10 right now.
Yeah, and I just saw Setu RC18 go down a couple of positions.
Yeah, it says that he left the session, so I think that might be the reason.
Staying on board General Pepe on the tail of Big Man Joe in the DRS main straight. Between 13 and 14, like we mentioned, Vix356 made a move on Big Man Joe, and it's deja vu for him, because this time around General Pepe did at the same spot, but quite earlier on in the race.
Easy as you like it. Yep, in fact, General Pepe had already started the overtake when the DRS got activated, so imagine how easy it was.
Yeah, and down the inside of Gouts, he's got company. Ferrello taking the fight to the Ferrari driver, and side by side they go wheel to wheel on the main straight. Ferrello should have got this done, and yes, he will.
It's not yet over, because Gautam's trying to attack on the inside, goes for a dive bomb, but just misses RB Ferrello. That would have been a nasty spin for RB Ferrello.
Setu RC18 returns, and Vex has pitted.
they will have to. I'm pretty sure that Big Manjo and Setu and Baby Shumi, these are the only drivers on the softs now, but all of them will have to pit.
As it stays, Baby Shumi on the tail, Setu RC18, who had an unfortunate disconnection, still remains disconnected. Horning running P14 after quite an early pit stop, isn't it? Like you mentioned.
Yep, but I do feel that he went on the mediums, so this might be a two-stopper that we'll see from the Mercedes man.
A promising qualifying turned disaster so far for the Merc drivers. Fortunate for them, Freeze running P as low as P18.
Yeah, he's only been able to manage 2 positions so far in 6 laps, and this is with a 10-second penalty that he has. While General Pepe sets the fastest lap on mediums, that fresh air doing him real good.
Meanwhile, Horning should be able to get it done around the outside of Setu RC18. Wheel to wheel, all 3 cars real close to each other. Baby Shumi, Horning and Setu RC18. Oh, and he spun! He sent it all around.
I think he got punted. I think he was hit, Sarthak. I don't know. But Setu RC18 dived into the pits. So, I'm not sure if he was hit or if it was a spin.
Fortunate from the angle I was looking at, all 3 cars were real close to each other, so it could have been anyone's fault for that matter. Setu RC18, of course, going down the order as Vic356, surprisingly enough, running the highest in the past couple of races. P16. He hasn't run anywhere above P18 in the last couple of races.
But he's yet to pit. Everybody below Vix has already pitted. So that is another thing to consider.
And I've mentioned this on stream before as well. Different permutations and combinations. That's exactly what Vic356 will keep trying, testing for the first half of the season. And the latter half of the season, perhaps we'll see him in action. But Ferrello racking up a penalty there.
Yup. I think that Freeze will prove to be a very costly drive for him, because he has the 10 seconds penalty from exceeding track limits in lap 1. So even if he were to finish P1, he could easily drop down to P5 if the battle is close.
I gotta say, Ruds, it's really enjoyable to watch Gauss give it his all. He's running P6.
Let's not jinx him, shall we? Because we all show our affection for him, and then something happens. I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's pretty unfortunate.
And on that note, even the AlphaTauri drivers, as I mentioned before, are both running in the points. So they started way beyond P10. So that's a promising position currently for them in the race. 20 laps to go, however. So let's not write off anyone just yet.
Yep. I still remember how a particular team principal of a black and white team kept on complaining that he's not good enough to fight for points, and how we used to call wanna be a PG friendly statement, but I'm gonna try. But we used to call his bluff. Yeah, I think that's a better way to put it.
Indeed. However, right now UK closer than ever to Avi around the penultimate corner. If he can keep it this way, he should be able to make a move in a corner or two.
Yep, I think he has DRS. Yes, he will have DRS. So let's see if he can pull the move by turn 1. Not quite, but he's still there. He's still there.
Should have it. There's a bit of contact between the two drivers, and sector 3 goes yellow. That's an incident perhaps between Vex and Sickening.
Sickening dives into the pits, so I think that there was something there.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing pops up as damage, however, in the telemetry, but then again, it is limited for our spectators. General Pepe leading this race with 9 laps done. KDB right behind Chris Bai in the top 3. So as expected, the 3 drivers are running in the top 3. Unfortunate for big man Joe, however, who's currently running P10, right behind his teammate.
He seems to have pit against Hardik.
Yes, he has.
If you notice, it says 0 laps of hard. So, I think he's going for a one-stopper. He managed to pull his softs until lap 8. So he actually did what was required, even though it costed him sheer seconds.
Perhaps. Right about now, as it stands, I think if there's one team that's really capitalizing on the first 10 laps of the Chinese GP, it's definitely has capitalized, in fact, is definitely the AlphaTauri boys. I mean, they're running P7, P8 on the hards. Looks promising. Race result should be good enough for them.
Indeed. In fact, Rocketman is P9 on 8-lap old mediums, even though he has a penalty, but he's kept up pretty well.
Like I mentioned, I mean, we can expect this kind of performance, or even better of a performance from Rocketman going into the next couple of races. But for now, as mentioned, doing incredible. UK right up there, he'll be happy about that as well, I'm sure, running P5. But then again, as mentioned, race isn't over yet. Not even half of the race is done. So for the 12 of you all watching, why don't you drop in the chat who you're rooting for? Who do you think has done a good job so far?
Pretty clean race we've had so far, isn't it, Sarthak? We have only had 5 people who have penalties going into the halfway point of the race. If you remember Australian GP, we only had 2 people not on penalties by the time the race ended.
Exactly, and let's hope it stays this way. With a ton of laps to go, anything's possible. I keep saying that, 18 laps left. General Pepe leading this race. KDB 3 seconds off General Pepe, but KDB's got Chris Bai for company.
Yep, I think the fighting between KDB and Chris Bai might allow General Pepe to build a larger gap to the P2 and P3 boys, but Chris Bai so far is keeping KDB honest.
And UK probably closest he's ever been. Last time around there was a bit of a contact. This time he's trying to keep it clean around the outside. He peaks, shouldn't be able to get it done because Avi closes that door moving into the next turn as well. Avi in UK, mighty battles.
Yep, Avi is defending pretty aggressively, and you can see the side effect of that. He's 8 seconds off the pace of Chris Bai, of the position I mean, but yeah, I don't think that Avi defending this aggressively is doing either him or UK any good.
Yeah, that over 7.5 second gap to Chris Bai isn't something he'll be too glad about, because you gotta remember, obviously you're fighting for position as well. It's not just UK. So he's got to concentrate on that. And UK almost lost his rear going into exiting out of sector 2.
I think this might be the straight where UK can overtake if he gets a good exit. I think he does get a good exit, so it's up to him now and up to the gods of DRS.
Yeah, of course, Uxi 5-6 did it last season. General Pepe did it earlier on the tail of Avi. UK down the inside he goes, late braking of course. A bit too. Avi
very deep.
Still stays wheel to wheel, both the drivers.
Avi with a brilliant switchback move, he made it work, and UK going too deep just allowed Avi to get back his position.
Yeah, and into the pits go the front two. General Pepe and KDB has pitted, which means Chris Bai leads a race in BRL once again. And
I think that General Pepe and KDB are being safe, and going for the hards while they still have the life that allow them to perform better. Maybe Chris Bai is going for an aggressive one-stopper and he'll finish on the softs.
Super late braking by UK. The Sicknick has retired from the session, and I wonder if it's out on track. Yes, it is, and it perhaps...
You can go to SV's POV for that. Yup, Sicknick has put it into the wall at the exit of turn 30.
Yeah, there we see him Unfortunate for the Racing Point driver. Safety car runs, and mind you, General Pepe and KDB just pit.
And I don't know if you missed this, but Rocketman got a 5-second penalty for colliding with Honing. And Wix 356 gets a drive-through penalty.
For speeding under the safety car. Unfortunate for the man. I'm pretty sure he might just contest that in case he had an issue on his screen, of course. But currently Chris Pye leading this race. Avi right up there, and UK as well. Safety car. All sectors go yellow, folks. And of course, support in the chat coming through.
Oh. Honing also gets a drive-through penalty, Sarthak. Sorry to cut you off, but Honing gets a DT as well.
My oh my, how this race is taking a turn so earlier on already. And there's possibly a Renault out on track, just in sector 1 perhaps? Is that Wex?
Honing gets a DT again.
Nope, it's not Wex.
I think it is Wex.
No, Wex is running P10. He's
oh, that's the safety car, Sarthak. We're getting fooled again.
The game just does that to us, doesn't it? Anyway, a bunch of drivers pit. Chris Pye still leading this race. I think he's possibly the individual to benefit the most out of the safety car, because General Pepe right behind him, KDB as well. A lot of positions getting switched as a bunch of drivers going to the pits. Ferrello coming out of the pits, of course, with Avi right behind.
I don't know if Honing got 2 drive-through penalties or if it's just the 1, but that's pretty sad, because I think this might be a glitch, Sarthak, that they have to serve the DT.
Anyway, they can contest that with the stewards and, you know, get it off their race times. But for now, it'll be bothering them in the head, I'm sure. Big Man Joe running P4 as of now. He's benefited from the safety car as well to an extent. With the whole pack all bunched up, I'm pretty sure the restart will be an interesting one.
And I'm afraid to say, Sarthak, but Honing did indeed get 2 drive-through penalties and not just 1. And Wix also has 2 drive-through penalties for some reason. Okay, this is definitely a glitch. Yep.
It's turning into disaster, but a Williams car leads this race. Definitely not something you'll see in real Formula 1. Chris Pye, 2-time podium finisher, leading the race with General Pepe and KDB right behind. Big Man Joe as well.
The last time I remembered Williams actually being this up high was when Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas were driving them.
Of course. I think lots to be appreciated for UK, of course. He's running P5 as well, while the driver he had been battling for a long time, Avi, is down in P7, right behind, however.
Oh, I don't know if you saw that, Sarthak, but Chris Pye just lost his end plate by crashing into the safety car.
Not ideal. Not ideal one bit.
Yes, he does not have a left end plate anymore. He hit the bumper of the safety car.
He might just stay out. We've seen him stay out with one end plate missing before. But then again, that's going to be an issue.
Is a very downforce dependent track, so he kind of needs his front wing in this case.
Yeah. And Honing's pit again. I wonder if he's serving that drive-through penalty.
Yes, he did. Sadly.
I think staying on board of Honing into the last couple of laps will be interesting. He'll be finding his way through the pack.
It says that Honing still has a drive-through penalty, so I think that Honing might have just lost his footing in the race because of a glitch. That is very unfortunate, because it's nothing but unlucky for the Mercedes team today.
Yeah, not something you'd like to see for any of the drivers out there. Freeze also running P15. Drivers who started P1 and P2 down beyond the points positions, but with 14 laps to go, it's anyone's guess how this race is going to end up being. Safety car will go in this lap, which means we're all set to go racing.
Imagine, Sarthak, if the drive-through penalty was indeed a glitch, and Wicks and Horning might not have finished in the points because they were busy serving their DTs. How do you think stewards would resolve that?
So that's the thing. Back to the fine line. Some things are just an issue out there where it can't be resolved because of the fact that this game glitches the way it does. Like I can think of numerous instances.
It's pretty sad though, because when I switch over to the penalties, Wicks and Horning do show the DT penalty again, even after serving it 2 times. So I hope that Horning realizes it's a glitch and does not pit again. Oh, Chris by pits.
Chris by pits almost
change his front wing
instantly, and the race will restart. 5-second penalty after severe collision with KDB for Big Manjo, who's dropping position. General Pepe will lead the race. KDB wheel to wheel into turn 1 they go, and KDB should have the lead of the race. Nope, they will stay wheel to wheel.
I think there was one more penalty that was there while these two were fighting. And yes.
Yeah, and Big Man Joe's fallen behind his teammate as well. He's running P12 down the inside. He goes KDB. Super late braking by the 3-time winner here in BRL and General Pepe. These two are not going down without a fight, are they?
Yep. General Pepe pretty close though. He's not yet out of getting a comeback overtake.
And I think UK is optimistically behind them, saying, okay boys, you can fight all you want. Just possibly a mistake or two, so I can take the race lead perhaps.
Maybe UK pulls a sneaky and gets it in while these two are busy struggling with each other.
I mean, he's well within overtaking range. SV11 has DNF'd, and he's done so in
we can look at it from Chris Bai's perspective, Sarthak.
Yep, staying on board Chris Bai as we speak. And SV on the left hand side. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ruds. Yep, he's lost his front left as well. If you weren't here last time around, Ruds, it's kind of the same part of the track SV crashed out on last season in the Ferrari. So China ending up being unfortunate for SV once again.
The luck is not on their side once again.
And General Pepe gone into the pits, which means KDB will lead the race with a good friend right behind.
Oh, I have a feeling that General Pepe might just come out on the softs or maybe the mediums. Yes, perhaps. He's coming out on the mediums.
Yeah. Another safety car. With another safety car out on track, I mean, it's anyone's guess. And there it is, the safety car. KDB will slow down, and so will the other drivers. Ferrello running P4. He started P12 if I'm not wrong, and he's running P4. Rusty Nish right up there, P6. But yeah, this race is turning out to be a hell of a gripper. Big Manjo running P18 now behind a friend of his who he spent a good amount of time in Formula student with, Baby Shumi.
If you look at it, Sarthak, all of them from P14 up to P18 are on the fresh mediums. So I think everybody in the mid-table have to be beware because they will have some incredible pace when the safety car goes in.
Yeah, this race is turning out to be ideally a Chinese GP race, as one might say, in the Bwoah Racing League. KDB running a P1, UK right behind, and Mr. Wex P3.
Also, I didn't know that the Chinese GP was so realistic. I don't see a single fan in the stands.
Yep.
Sarthak.
Yeah.
And this is without mods, so yeah. Ultra realistic game of the year.
Damn, Ruds, you got that one good. Ferrello running P4 and the bunch. God, I mean, doesn't matter what we say, Ruds.
The fans are.
Doesn't matter what we say, Ruds. Gauds is still running P7, and I'm pretty sure he'll have a smile on his face and a game plan perhaps in the head, because he'll be looking to improve that position, I'm sure, going into the next couple of laps.
Yeah, he's on the hards. I think he's done with his pit windows. All he has to do is keep his wing intact and maintaining the gap.
Yep. Wex goes into the pits. I wonder what tires he'll come out on. I'm pretty sure that was a team call with Avi running P4. fresh
UK
mediums.
disqualified for ignoring the yellow flag. That is
Is he now though?
very weird.
Is he now though? He on my screen he's still out on track, running P2. Vex,
For me, but
Vex, however, coming.
This is very weird.
Vex coming out 12 seconds off of Big Man Joe. The gap will close, of course, if the safety car remains out on track for a lap. So fresh mediums for Vex as well.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody can pit for softs until lap 23.
I think a car went off track. Perhaps, yes, it was KDB who
It was
went off track.
KDB.
I wonder if he has damage.
Doesn't look like he has any damage. Yep, the car seems to be in good condition. I think it was just a slip.
And I guess
Unfortunate.
and I guess it ended up like we expected it to, with UK leading this race, as we might just have one more lap of safety car before it goes in. Yep, safety car in this
All
lap.
UK has to do is lead for 10 laps and he will win his first race of the season.
I mean, this is turning out to be brilliant. UK leading this race after quite some time, leading a race in the Bwoah Racing League. Ferrello running P2, Avi running P3. Yeah, this seems ideal, but mind you, Ferrello's on the mediums, not UK.
Be curious to see how General Pepe will climb up, who 12 people in order to fight for the title of the Chinese GP, because there are 10 laps to make 11 overtakes.
And for the 12 of y'all watching and y'all feel a bit confused on why UK is driving the way he is, he's heating up his tires for the race restart, folks. So swerving the car left to right usually helps with heating up the tires.
And these are the hard tires, they take a long time to heat up.
Looks like we will be ready to go main straight, and UK will put his foot down on that throttle of that Thrustmaster T150 Pro, and Ferrello on his tail with the medium tires. Midfield, seems like there's an issue. Freeze lost a position, and Rusty Nish climbed one.
Okay, on my screen, I'm sorry for that, but I just saw Ferrello go into the barrier on my screen.
Oh,
The game is not being kind to our hearts.
yep, and his teammate Rusty Nish is trying to take the fight too. Avi will try to get a perfect race done today. Gaut's running right behind him. I think I'm possibly the second person as glad as the handful of viewers here for Gaut's that he's still running P6. A brilliant position for him so far. So far the restart has been clean. Let's hope it stays clean. Right at the back of the pack, Gambler trying to take the fight to Vix 356, who's giving him a tough time. Williams, Ferrari and Red Bull having a brilliant fight at the back of the pack. No contact so far. Chris Pye having an incredible fight wheel to wheel with Vix 356. And collision, harsh driver spun as well. Ghosted cars. Unfortunate. It's Freeze and Pepe. Not Freeze, just Pepe. Hyrox 24 has retired.
Oof. That is so not what you want when you could have a race to win, but I think a race win is out of General Pepe's forte now.
Yep, sector 3 goes yellow, and
Just
I wonder.
finished. 3-second time penalty, Sarthak.
Yeah. And Vix 356 dives into the pits as we saw. And Haas is spun again. It's baby Shumi this time. It's disaster for Haas. And Prophecy might not just be smiling watching this. Two top teams having the worst of occasions out on track in China. Both Mercedes and Haas. Unfortunate for them. UK is still leading this race with a feisty Ferrello right behind. Any updates, Ruds, on your side?
I can just see Ferrello giving UK a tough fight while Big Man Joe sneakily climbs up to P10, taking advantage of all the ghosted cars and the General Pepe spin.
Got Chris Pye right up ahead with Gambler. Commendable days lot. Gambler, Setu RC18, Rocketman, Gouts. You know, you don't see them in the points too often, Ruds. And in a race like this, they've kept it in the points so far.
Gotta take your chances.
Yeah. Big Manjo locked up with Mr. Wex and Big Manjo, a fight you want to see. All within a second, the top 4 of each other. And Wex the closest on the tail of Big Manjo. Will try around the inside, I'm sure. Vixie 5-6 got it done, and Pepe got it done earlier on. Can Vex stick it? Yes, he will.
DRS has been enabled from this lap, Sarthak. So now we will be seeing some more overtakes.
As it stands, Pepe sets
General
a
Pepe
quick
setting
lap.
the fastest lap. Oh, he is there. He's out there now.
Sector 3 goes yellow yet again. And that's an Alpha Tauri.
Rusty Nish has retired. Yes.
Alpha Tauri, Rusty Nish. A promising finish. That it seemed like a promising finish if he could keep it. But it seems like he's retired. Safety car yet again, Ruds.
I wonder if it's a blessing in disguise for the likes of General Pepe.
And as we stay on board UK.
Gets the DT.
Indeed he does. Teammates running P6 might just end up joining at the back of the pack if he decides to serve that drive-through.
Holding is having an absolute harrowing time.
Yeah.
And
5 seconds.
Stops for some reason.
Severe collision with Chris Bag. Gambler gets a 5-second penalty as well.
I think Gambler has racked up a lot of penalties so far. Yeah, he has 8 seconds worth of penalties, but Freeze is on 13 seconds. And that is just 2 penalties. His first penalty was for 10 seconds.
Out of curiosity, Ruth, can you give me an update on the penalties of P3 and P4, KDB and Avi? Because I'm curious to see if they have enough penalties to ensure Gouts a possible podium in case it stands this way. The gaps stand the way they are going into the final lap.
You know what? You actually may be right about this one because UK has a 5-second penalty. Ferrello has a 3-second penalty. KDB has a 5-second penalty and Avi has a 5-second penalty. So Gots might very well just get onto the podium if he keeps right behind them for the next 7 laps.
Okay, Rocketman making a climb as well as Seto 18 perhaps lost position. I wonder why on the safety car he hasn't gone into the pits to so drive through either. Gambler, however, has gone into the pits. 4 cars have retired. SV11, Sicknig, Hyox 24 and Rusty Nish. Unfortunate for those drivers. It's been absolute pandemonium so far. But we got 7 laps to go. So the race is not done.
I think this was the first chaotic race of this season because Australian GP had a lot of penalties, but at least it was clean. And Bahrain and Vietnam were also pretty clean compared to the Chinese GP at least.
Indeed, it was, wasn't it? So far, Gouts and Rocketman can be super optimistic. If depending on Rocketman's penalties, of course, how much does he have, Ruds? If you can give us an update on that.
Yep, I think that Gots is a bit safe from Rocketman as well because Rocketman has 3 seconds worth of penalties. And if even that were not enough, Chris Bhai is on 5 seconds and Vex is on 3 seconds. So Gotham really, it's his podium to lose at this point, I can say.
Alright. All he needs to do is keep it clean. He knows how to do that. Let's hope he gets it done this time around. A possible brand new podium, in fact. All 3 drivers could be new to BRL in some occasions, and UK might just be looking at a possible second race win in the league. 7 laps to go. We've already had 3 safety cars runs.
Yep, this is the third one.
It's anyone's guess.
This is the third one in 5 laps, might I add. 5 laps of racing, that is. Of course, we have lost close to 6 laps of racing under the safety car.
I'm guessing this will be the final lap. Safety car will stay out because the track seems to be clear. And Seto RC18 has pitted, will come out on the softs.
Yep, one last push. Wix is also on the softs, and so is Gambler.
Who do you think's in the best position right now, Ruj? Apart from Gauts, of course. In terms of gaining track position, perhaps, with 6 laps to go?
I think Big Man Joe and Pepe can make a late push and end up in the top 5.
Okay.
Because they are also clean, if you look at it. I'm sure UK will have a lot to say after he wins the race. Again, not trying to jinx before anybody comes after me, but it's between him and Ferrello, because Ferrello is on the mediums, but you need to remember that 8-lap-old mediums are in a worse condition than 8-lap-old hards. So, yeah, he might have the pace advantage, but wear-wise, I think UK can nurse his tires and push them a little bit more.
Yep. And as expected, safety car in this lap, which means we're ready to go racing, folks. Possibly 5 laps with this 22nd lap ending. We will begin the 23rd lap, of course. And Wex is falling in position, or is that a glitch perhaps? He's fallen quite a bit. Yeah, 5-second penalty.
Mr. Wex. Oh, things are not going well for Wex today. Just like Horning and Freeze.
And yet again we see UK leading the pack after a safety car. As the safety car will go in, he'll take it real slow through the final corner, bunch everyone up together so he can get that off the line takeoff he needs. And yep, we are ready to go racing once again, folks. 23rd lap begins and UK steams ahead with Ferrello right behind on the mediums. Ferrello being a little conservative there. Rocket Man fancying a fight with Chris By, of course, right behind. Let's stay on board Rocket Man as he takes the fight to Chris By. Down the inside he tries. Yes, he will get his position back.
Happy with Ferrello, Gauts and Rocket Man's performance today.
Sector 1 goes yellow and I think it's Wex. Yes.
Mr. Wex, yes. And he has retired from the session. I think he's had enough for today, Sarthak.
Yeah, voluntary retirement, I'm assuming. And up ahead, Rocket Man making sure that's his position. He spun. Rocket Man is spun. Unfortunate for him. He was having a brilliant fight with Chris By. I mean, I don't know what to say. That's super unfortunate. He's losing his rear once again.
His tires are cooked. He's all over the place now.
Sector 2 goes yellow.
That's really, really sad.
And track's clear from what we can see as we stay on board UK, we're on straight to RC18, my bad. Let's go straight to UK, who's leading this race.
Ferrello is keeping very, very close. The medium tires are offering him the pace to follow UK.
Chris By has spun.
UK is doing really well.
Chris By has spun and he's looking at the barriers. Right behind is Wixie 56 making the move on Baby Shumi. Chris By losing out on yet another good race. Freeze gets a 3-second time penalty as well. General Pepe making the move on Big Man Joe.
China, oh China, here you are doing those again.
Yeah. It is Horning and Chris
By. The tires are
By.
getting cooked, Sarthak. Like I said.
Evidently. I think that goes to show why Ferrello hasn't been able to push and make that move on UK, even though he's on mediums.
I think UK is going for a strategy where he's trying to get RB Ferrello to wear his tires faster, and then he can use his hard tires, and since the hard tires last 5 laps longer, he can actually push for the hard tires once RB Ferrello is done.
Horning gets a 3-second time penalty. He's running P13. I mean, let's not even go there to the Merc drivers. They'll be disappointed to say the least. But Freeze can be a bit optimistic. He's running P9 in the points. So we can keep it going. Should be a bare minimum amount of points for the team.
They've had a calamity today. I think it's the equivalent of when Mercedes messed up in the Sakhir Grand Prix and the Hockenheim one as well. We had a front row lockout. I mean, and by the end of lap 1, one of the drivers was in chaos, and then a glitch ruined the other driver's chances.
Yeah. Unfortunately for the bunch of drivers, DRS is back, and we should possibly see a move or two. KDB peeks down the inside, will stay on the gearbox of Ferrello. Round the outside he goes, loses his rear just a bit, but keeps it on track somehow. Ferrello, however, losing his rear as well.
General, he made it to P6, so I was right. Maybe General Pepe and Big Man Joe can end up in the top 5 places after the penalties. It is so close, Sarthak. Just look at the front 3.
Yeah, and trying to go wheel to wheel. KDB round the outside on Ferrello. And these two were teammates in season 3 for the latter half. This time around, they're going wheel to wheel at China. Down
Brilliant
the
switch back
inside.
from KDB.
I'm pretty sure he'd like it to go the other way around. Avi right there in the fight as well. So he's hoping for Ferrello and KDB to possibly possibly make a mistake or two as General Pepe makes the move on Gauts. Man with a mission, General Pepe.
General ends up challenging UK for the win. I would lose my mind.
I mean, the fight in front is turning out to be incredible. KDB on the gearbox of Ferrello, and equally enough, Avi right behind. And yep, General Pepe has possibly got the move done. Avi's falling. I wonder what happened to him.
He seems to be alright now. I think he's just lost his footing because his wing seems to be intact.
3-second time penalty after corner cutting for Rocket Man as KDB trying to go around the outside of Ferrello once again. And like you'd expect, Ruds with gaps being so small in the top 5, even the tiniest of mistakes will put you on the back foot by a huge margin, like we saw Avi, who was running P4, is now running P6.
Yep, all Gautam has to do is be within 5 seconds of UK. I just hope that God gets a podium at least, you know.
Yep, and SV in the chat.
Stands over here.
And SV in the chat being way optimistic in my opinion. He's saying Gauts could possibly win the race as Chris Bai sets the fastest lap on the softs.
Yeah, I don't think that Gauts might be able to win because General Pepe is ahead.
2 laps to go. 2 laps to go, folks.
Sorry for that.
And the top 4 all within a second of each other. Let's stay on board General Pepe, the man with the mission, on the tail of KDB, has DRS. KDB trying his best, making sure he doesn't have slipstream General Pepe. Around the outside, he will try, should be able to make sure he doesn't get the move done, KDB. Gauts making the move on Avi. Gauts holding on to his position.
Brilliant stuff from Gautam. I think the new PC that he is temporarily using is really helping him out a lot.
Yeah, goes to
What do you
show.
think, Sarthak?
Goes to show hardware is everything, but not everything, as Avi dives down the inside of Gauts, and Big Man Joe fancies nabbing a position or 2 in the process.
That's a shame, but Gauts can still finish pretty high because everybody there is on the penalties, but with 1 lap to go, Gauts has to get close to Avi at least.
Yep, it's battles all around, and there was contact between the Red Bull and the Ferrari. That is Gamebler being a little too feisty. Gauts could possibly be very mad at that. Didn't quite lose out on much, but did lose out on a bit of time to Big Man Show. Right up ahead, top 4 still within a second of each other on the penultimate lap.
Wonder how UK must be feeling because he knows he has the penalties and he absolutely has to build a gap to General Pepe.
He's got
which I don't think is happening anytime soon.
Yeah, and he's got some of the fastest drivers on his tail, all within a second of each other. That penalty could just lose him the race win for sure. On the running on the penultimate lap, seems like it, doesn't it?
Yep. I do feel that UK, Ferrello and KDB have just been... They must be feeling like they have been robbed, you know, because of the penalties. Sector
3 goes yellow. Wonder what happened there just for a moment though. Let's stay on board. Avi, General Pepe, and right up ahead KDB. This final lap is going to be a gripper.
Look at KDB attacking RB Ferrello. He wants to finish ahead of RB Ferrello, but I don't think that will happen because if I'm not wrong, Ferrello has just 3 seconds of penalties, while KDB has 5. Yes, that is correct. So KDB will finish behind Ferrello, regardless.
And from the way it looks, General Pepe looks like he will possibly take another race win.
Yep. Are you surprised?
A bit, considering how this race turned out, the initial couple of laps, and I think as it goes to show, you keep it clean, it's rewarding at the end, as always.
For sure. He took a gamble with his pit strategies, to be honest, and it really worked out. And for Big Man Joe as well.
Yeah, indeed it did. And as we come along the straight, the infamous straight, which we could possibly see a move or two being made, but no, everybody's tires is cooked, as you mentioned, Ruds. And General Pepe.
And you can see the red light at the rear because the ERS battery is also dead.
Yep, it is on track. UK will possibly finish on track first, but that doesn't go to show. That goes to show keeping it clean matters, as General Pepe wins for the 3rd time in the BRL, making him a 3-time winner. UK does manage to get a podium finish nonetheless. Ferrello for the first time on the podium in the BRL, and what a race it has been today. My word.
Wow. I think this Sunday was worth it.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like, yes, this race was enough to satisfy our appetite for motorsport, at least for this week.
It is. Gouts finishing a wonderful P6. Big Man Joe managing to finish ahead of KDB, and UK in P3. He'll be super happy about that. Unfortunate for the 5 drivers who retired earlier on. Wix 356 hauling some good points. So Ferrari had a good amount of points haul this time around. And Ruds, you'll have to guide us through for the driver of the day, because I kind of just lost connection. The game crashed. Nope, we're still there.
Alright. Surprisingly, driver of the day was given to Wix 356. And I don't know how the game decided that, but yeah, might as well go with it.
Yep, it is. I mean, rightly deserved. He did start off at the back of the pack, and if you all can see, folks, there was a bit of a glitch in Wix 356's garage where the car had the mechanic sitting on it. So yeah, well, not something rare in the Codemasters world, but then again, General Pepe, 3 times a race winner in the Bwoah Racing League, putting him alongside the likes of Rusty Nish, Big Man Joe, and KDB.
Gotta admire the resilience shown by everyone.
Yep.
And it's just been very beautiful.
Brilliant stuff. A wonderful race after a short break, so clearly the break perhaps works out in our favor, doesn't it?
Yep.
One way or the other.
And this was a very tasty race indeed.
Yeah, indeed it was. General Pepe.
So we have Wix 356 as the driver of the day. Who would have thought?
General Pepe wins another race. Ferrello P2, UK P3, Big Man Joe P4, KDB P5. I think if there's one thing we must say, it's that Gouts managed to keep it clean and keep it in the points, and surprisingly enough, Ferrari had a good day.
And he finished just 7.7 seconds behind General Pepe. And another admiring thing to note is that Big Man Joe lost out to a podium by 0.3 of a second. That's it.
Wow.
0.3.
Some lucky and some unlucky at China this time around. And Chris Byrne setting the fastest lap. Penalties all around, but the ones who kept it clean ended up being victorious at the end. Brilliant as always. Of course, Ruds, on to next weekend. A mighty one. Hopefully, I'm phased out at this point. I don't even know which race is up next weekend, but I'm sure it'll be equally as competitive, equally as gripping as this one. All right,
yep.
Ruds? Yeah,
for sure.
And for the 8 of y'all who stayed till the very end, including our brilliant sim racing photographer Will, thank you so much. and we'll see you around next weekend. Cheers.